Well, greetings. Glad you joined us today. Welcome to week 63 of the Financial Roundtable, where we remind us that money is not the most important thing in life, but it is like oxygen on the gotta have it scale. I'm Tam Nguyen. I'm your host, week number 63. I'm from Qnity. Qnity is here to help you not only earn more money, but do what you love and have a great quality of life. And as it relates to an organization, how you can have great profits, great culture, and a competitive edge. And it's how to take something that's complicated, overwhelming, and confusing for a more clear path to financial prosperity, whatever that means to you, using a simple, visual, and actionable approach. Remember, to manage or to prosper, manage your ATM, your attention, time, and money. Thank you for spending your precious time with us today. And thanks to Tam also for being our guest. Last week's guests were Josh Beatty and Phil Shipman, where we discussed one person's go is another person's grow. Phil was a salon owner. He was ready to go. And Josh was a key employee and he was ready to grow. So it was a wonderful opportunity to hear from those two gentlemen who I got to work with over a period of time. For a very successful transition where everybody won. And it's a great story. So if you haven't listened, if you didn't participate last week, the recording of this is posted on the Profit portal if you're enrolled in the Qnity program. Otherwise, it's on YouTube. I announced last week that I have an email address if there's inquiries about whether you want to grow or go. This is a private email address where you can send me some of your thoughts, questions, etc. This week's guest is Tam Nguyen, and he is at, I'll introduce Tam in a little bit, but I'm super excited to have Tam as a guest today. I've had some wonderful conversations with him, including one yesterday as we prepped, and we're going to cover two of his passions. One is the evolution of the nail business. And secondly is family business. Tam has a ton of credibility. His bio is quite lengthy because of all the many accomplishments that he's had in his career so far. And I think Tam's just getting warmed up too. Hope you have some light bulb moments today and hope you connect some things that will help inspire you into a more prosperous future for you. We do include a Qnity 9 grid in your reminders for these weekly roundtables. Use that to mind map, storyboard, to create a step-by-step on different things that are your light bulb moments today. And again, past recordings are posted in the Plan for Profits portal and on YouTube. So I have just a couple quick comments here before we get to Tam. And we were on yesterday, as we are on Tuesdays, with several of our coaches. And we spent a little bit of time talking about price increases. So if you can see the screen, we are in an inflationary economy right now. And you could see the increases in pricing across the board here, from ground beef to pork ribs to chicken to natural gas, rental cars. Rental cars happens to be one of my big pet peeves. Renting a car today is a huge hassle. Not only is it more expensive, but it's an number one hassle. Tell me if any of you agree with that. But you can see that there's a high degree of inflation and price increases. And you know what's interesting about this? You don't see haircuts on here, do you? And I'm wondering what you think the average price increase for haircuts are. That's sort of the punchline here. So here we're seeing all these massive double-digit, in many cases, increases. TVs are up almost 13%, hotel rooms up almost 18%. So where do haircuts fall into this? Well, I'm going to show you, because we've long been advocates early on for make sure that you're addressing your prices and you're priced appropriately. And this is an economy where price increases are expected. Many of you have done it and have had six-figure type increases in revenue. Love hearing that. So let's get to haircuts. 5%, bottom of the list. The only thing that's less than haircuts is beer. Now, I have no explanation about that. But put it into perspective. When we're looking at price increases, I'd love to get some comments about this. when we're looking at price increases, obviously there's so many different things that go into that dynamic. But just from a sheer comparability standpoint, I thought this was hugely relevant to share with you today, because look at what our spending is in our day-to-day life and see how haircuts fit into that. So that's point number one I want to share with you that came out of our coaching session, coaching call yesterday, or with our coaches. And then the other thing is Heath Smith, he's one of our coaches. He introduced a term called I'm going to have a hard time even pronouncing this, skimpflation. This is an article that was in, this was NPR. The date is actually yesterday. And basically, I'll describe it simply put. For example, riding on a plane, fares haven't really changed. But what has happened is the offering has declined. So prices are going up and the amenities are going down. And so that's another trend that's happening, is people are using inflation as a way to increase their revenue, and at the same time using an opportunity and using COVID in many cases as a reason to cut out certain amenities. I found that was very interesting. So I'd love to see if we have any comments about this as we gather today. All right. So we are going to welcome Tam to the Brain Trust. Tam, you can come off mute, and hopefully we can see your handsome face here. And there you are. So Tam, we'll be welcoming you to our Brain Trust. This is just a fraction of the contributors. You're in very good company. I'm super excited to talk to you. Just to be clear, you come from Advanced Beauty College, which is a second-generation family business. And I see this all the time. And it seems like you also embody these words, Tam, and as I've gotten to spend times with you: inspire, educate, and give back. So Tam, thanks for being my guest today. How are you?
I'm great, Tom. Good morning, Tom. Good morning, everyone. It's such an honor to join you today. Thank you for having me as your guest.
You know, I've gotten to know you a little bit through through a couple different connections, and frankly, I haven't spent enough time with you, but I think we're going to be spending more time into the future for sure. You're a very inspiring guy. Now, when I first met you back in early September, I of course knew that you were very passionate about the nail business, and owned some beauty schools. But you also threw this other little nugget out to me, and that was that you're also on the faculty at a university and are an educator as it relates specifically to family business. And the first part of our conversation, and so these are two passions of yours, the nail business and family business. And obviously they're married into your life. And you know, the very first part of our conversation, we talked all about family business, and I thought, whoa, that's his secondary passion. Let's get to your first passion. And I'm going to ask you a question I asked you yesterday. What do you want people to know that they may not know or may not think about as it relates to the nail business?
Yeah, no, thank you for that question. Certainly the nail business not only defines me and who I am, but my family. And when I say my family, I speak of my parents as the first generation, mom and dad, and my sister Lynn and I as the second generation owners of Advanced Beauty College. To use one of your terms that I just learned today, listening to you, is mom and dad was ready to go, and my sister Lynn and I were ready to grow. So that happened in mom and dad were in the beauty salon, nail salon business. Mom was already doing it in Vietnam during the war. So when the war ended in 1975, we immigrated here after the Vietnam War. We were on the first plane out. Those pictures you saw from 1975 in Fall of Saigon, that was our family. You know, they went. I was only one at the time. My mom was pregnant with my sister Lynn. And there were bombs, grenades. We were airlifted out of a helicopter, near the U.S. Embassy in Saigon. And so that was our family in 75. Mom and dad reacclimated here in the U.S., California. Thankful for shout out to Ariane Laidlaw and the Laidlaw family that sponsored us. Oh, what a wonderful American family to sponsor us, and we still keep in touch with them today. Indebted, but we were defined as we came here. Mom immediately got back into the nails and beauty industry. The nails industry wasn't so established per se at that point. Mom connected with dad, was doing some social work and odds and ends jobs, quite frankly. And they had nothing but the shirts on their back. How nails came into play and how it became such a big part of us. My mom's best friend from high school was sponsored. She was one of the first 20 ladies sponsored by the famous actress Tippi Hedren from the 70s, Birds, Alfred Hitchcock's leading lady, the gorgeous. And she had gone to Vietnam as an actress, and she sponsored the first 20 Vietnamese ladies to do nails and out of a school in Northern California. My mom kept in touch with that group and ended up opening nail salons, and we ended up opening a nail school. And after opening nail salons, mom and dad ended up opening a nail school, a beauty college in 1987. And since 1987, we've graduated nearly 50,000 nail salon graduates and have become, if not the largest, one of the largest in California and the US for nail salon training. And Lynn and I, as second generation owners, came in 1999. We began our journey. But needless to say, the nails industry is something where it's very near and dear to our hearts. Lynn got licensed in it, at the age of 17. She's, been teaching in it. We continue to grow our nails program as our signature program for a beauty college. That's very unique. Beauty colleges throughout the country, you'll see them as hair first or skin first. We're one of those unique beauty colleges that's it's nails first as a program. So that's a little bit of the story. I mean, I could spend hours talking about this in our journey in the nails industry, but certainly we've seen a lot from Tippi Hedren to all the way to what it is today in terms of this multi-billion-dollar industry.
So there's perception issues, a lot of perception issues in pro beauty, and this is one that doesn't get talked about very much, and that's perception issues as it relates to the nail business. Do you want to comment about that?
I do, yeah, thanks. So perception business, as we know in the beauty industry, the largest segment is hair and then skin, and then nails doesn't really get talked about as much. So it's an honor for me to represent that segment here today. In terms of perception, I think it's, as leaders in the industry and just as leaders for our businesses and families, one of the most important attributes that I always consider is empathy. And empathy takes understanding from another person's perspective. And so I'd like to share a little bit perspective, just because of the nail salon industry. When I do my research and read about it, bad news makes the news and makes headlines and gets a lot of clickbaits and views. But I could share with you the mindset, just so that we have compassion and empathy towards the refugees who began and who still work throughout the US in these nail salons. Many of which were refugees like my parents. They have a scarcity mindset. Their single goal was to provide for their son and daughter and family. Beyond that was to make an extra dollar and hustle so that they can send what little they did make above and beyond what providing, after paying all the rent and utilities and providing for their children here in a new country, is to send money back to their own parents and siblings that didn't make it out of the war. And so with that scarcity mindset, certainly there are some characteristics that came with that in terms of being frugal and being doing what you can to save every last penny and to work long hours. My parents, it was typical to work 16-hour days, 7 days a week, and work through the holidays. That was my childhood growing up, what I observed. And when we understand that, we understand the evolution of the nails industry from what we call from the stuff we see on the news, discount nail salons, nail chop shops, poor sanitation, poor communication because they don't speak English, to what it's evolved to over the years and decades to what it is today, 46 years later, from nail salons to nail bars to nail resorts and to really chains. There's some very strong nail chains now that have elevated the experience. And as you talked about pricing in your intro today, we've gone from $10 to $15 manicures to my wife just got a pedicure this past weekend for $120. And it was, wow. It's like, wow, that was $120 pedicure with all the work. That's just a pedicure. That's not even with the manicure. So we've certainly seen that. I love to see the price increase, and what was incredible is the value was there for a $120 pedicure. The value was there. She walked out going, that was a great pedicure after getting, she's gotten pedicures around the country in various states and various experience. And it was like, wow, that was a great experience and that was valuable. So I love that our industry in the nail segment in particular is able to charge price points that will enhance our customer experience in industry.
It's been a while since I've been a salon owner myself. But I do very fondly recall being part of running a company that had a very active nail business. And I'm sitting, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking $120 pedicure. And part of our issue, and I want to get to this in a moment, is finding staff. But you kind of woke up something in my mind. Why not charge these ridiculously high price for these services and be unapologetic for it? I mean, what if you took the existing nail menu and just increased it by 50%? Would they really lose clients? I'm just really curious about that. And
I could share one case study, the salon that we went to, and I went with my wife, by the way, and my daughter. They put my wife and I in for the VIP room. We each got offered a champagne or a beverage of our choice, and they had a great menu. We got to choose our music, and they had a remote control with a TV in there. So I got to watch the game as I was sitting there with my wife in a VIP private room. Our 9-year-old daughter was sitting right outside the door with her service. And they were unapologetic for these really what's considered, really high price points. And I was so happy to pay it. I was so happy with the service. And I only wish that more nail salons can elevate that. And because they charge those high price points, oh my gosh, it was so relaxing. The customer service was so great, and everything was amazing in terms of the experience, the technology that they had. My daughter's iPhone ran out, my phone ran out, and my daughter wanted to use my iPhone. They had a charger and a plug, and it was just, it takes away all the headaches. And I love that they were unapologetic about it, and they were busy. They were packed. We're in the middle of a pandemic, COVID here, and they were packed on a Sunday late afternoon. They were packed. It was great to see.
Well, Shara is one of our coaches, and she's also an Oregon-based owner. And she asks the question that I'm sure it's on other people's minds, and that is, Carrie's with us this morning. All right. Good morning, Carrie. All right. So Shara's question is, any suggestion for staffing? Been trying to staff my nail team for 8 months, only one applicant so far.
There is a people staffing crisis. This nails crisis was already in effect before COVID. COVID enhanced it. I'm unapologetic about being a great nail school. Our graduates are awesome. Our 50,000 graduates are working in all 50 states and around the country, and they're awesome. I run into them everywhere. My wife and I, our family's been to 38 out of 50 states, and every state we go to, we make sure we go into a nail salon and get a service. And many a times we meet one of our alumni. The answer to the question is every industry is staffing. It's just a nail staffing problem. It's not a beauty staffing problem. It's not just a food and beverage staffing problem. It's everywhere. I've gone to enough economic conferences recently and economic forecasts where the economic crisis is real. I'd like to speak in particular for the nail salon crisis. We have a robust job placement program. If you're an employer, we work with even nails. If you're an employer and you need nail salon folks, connect with me. Even during COVID, we had owners from Ohio fly in and said they have 4 locations in Ohio. They hired 15 of our graduates, flew them out to Ohio, housed them, incredible benefits for our graduates, housed them and gave them a job. How awesome is that for our graduate who just went through, 600 hours of training? to be able to have that type of package. So that's we're working with Minilux, the Minilux chain from Boston. Same thing. Zoe Chrislock flies into California, speaks and inspires our students, and creates a program to staff all her locations throughout Dallas, all her locations throughout Boston, all her locations throughout Hollywood. These are national chains working with us that are very sophisticated and filling their pipeline in terms of the crisis. There's a crisis in talent for us.
Okay, so this is going to be one of those drop the mic moments, throw this up in the air. And this is like a big brainstorm for me in terms of for our guests today. So guests and regular participants, what I see, and Shara answering your question there, is we now have a direct line to the guy, or the school. And so Aaron, if you could put, and normally, Tam, so our protocol is not to provide the contact information for our guests. Part of that is to protect our guests because they have a day-to-day business, and sometimes they might get inquiries that might be beyond what would be normal. So with your permission, can we put, what is the contact information people should have? Should it be you or someone else from your team that they should contact if they want to become more close to you and your school?
Tom, absolutely. You absolutely have my permission, and I'm honored to connect. If Aaron and you could provide my email to our guests today that are on, I'm happy to work with them. We do regular job fairs. So we just did one Monday this week at our Laguna Hills campus. It was packed. Oh my goodness. I mean, it was packed. Our job fairs, we were doing regular job fairs to match employers with student graduates. We've never had a better turnout than this past Monday. And it's been, so our students are getting connected to employers, our employers are connecting to students, and the talent is there. One thing I want to share with the audience and nail salon owners is, yeah, we know the demographics and statistics. It was mainly Asian, in particular Vietnamese, 80% here in California for the salons, and over 50% nationwide. Most nail salons today in America are filled with Vietnamese staff technicians. That's changing rapidly. During COVID, a shift happened. There's something about the nails industry that got elevated that attracts everyone now. How cool is that? I am very proud as a Vietnamese an American business owner to say that we had it open in English, Vietnamese, English, Spanish classes, and they're full. We have historically, when mom and dad ran it, it was 90% Vietnamese students in the nails program. Now it's flipped. Vietnamese now make up the minority of our nails program. And mind you, I'm in the largest Vietnamese community in the country, in the world outside of Vietnam, here in Southern California, here in Orange County. And now we have, so what's amazing is our students are coming out with the English language skills, supplemented by the technical nail skills, and these soft business skills that they're learning. They're learning business communication skills. There's a lot of bad things that happened during COVID, but man, there's some definitely great things that came out of it. And one was this virtual platform, as well as some new skills that are coming out, and a new population emerging for the nails industry. The face of the nails industry and your future nail professional has changed, and for a good thing.
Yeah, I'm finding myself going through a mental flip here, and flipping nails to be sort of that ancillary service. To your point, it's hair, stylists, estheticians, massage therapists. And by the time you get to nails, it's almost like forgotten about. And I'm starting to switch the whole mindset here to this being more of a premium exclusive service. And let's say someone has 2 pedicure chairs and 2 manicure stations, whatever. Finding a couple people, perhaps through your school. You're in Orange County, right?
We have 2 schools in Orange County, both in
Yeah.
Orange County, in Laguna Hills and Garden Grove. Yes, sir.
So this is a financial roundtable, and certainly on the finance side, I can see revenues going up, and I could see that solving the staffing issue. And I think this could be a really big part, because so many of these businesses already have a built out nail business, but in certain cases they're turning into something else because they haven't figured out how to market it. And more importantly, haven't figured out how to staff it. So This is really powerful stuff, man. I love this.
There is no doubt the biggest challenge for every salon in America, especially the nails component, is staffing. This is a people crisis. It's a
And we've
talent.
been talking about that pretty
Yeah, and
much every
everyone
week.
knows,
Yep.
it's a people issue. Everyone knows it. One of my mentors, I love this line from my mentor, and I'll share this nugget because I always think about it. One of my mentors who graduated from Cal State Fullerton with me is Roger Koch. He graduated there with accounting, and he ended up rising through the ranks and becoming the CFO of In-N-Out, one of the most beloved brands in burgers and food. And he said, Tam, I want to share this nugget with you. That I learned from my mentor. And when he mentored me, he said, Tam, In-N-Out is not in the food and beverage industry. We are not in the food industry. We are in the people business. Like your business, we are in the people business. So if we can always remember it's about the people, it starts with the people and ends with the people, then we're in the right business. Because if we think we're in the beauty business first or the food business first, we're not putting the priorities in the right order. We're in the people business. And I really appreciated that. And I often think about what Roger says.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And in fact, at our 2 to 10 conference, which I mentioned to you a little bit about that yesterday, is we pretty much anchored that in and said, let's make no illusions here.
Yep.
You are in the human capital business, and you live and die by human capital, and being nimble and really looking at new solutions is really important today. I'm trying to see what you mentioned to me that when we spent time yesterday. Well, let's stay with the nail business just a little bit longer. Then I want to take you over to family business. So if we got any questions or comments for Tam, or if you're loving this, or if you have any thoughts, please use the chat. I do have my chat open. I could read them.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit more about the evolution of the nail business for this crowd.
Yes, the evolution of the nail business. So in the 70s, right, when Tippi Hedren and her first 20 Vietnamese nail salons came, technicians came out. We used to call them nail technicians. The terminology has changed. We're now called nail artists, nail professionals. Just naming the person and the position with the right terminology makes a difference. So I want to emphasize that. Let's not call ourselves nail technicians, nail workers. These are very, these terms don't elevate our professionals. They're nail artists, they're nail professionals. So we call them what they are. Same thing with our nail salons. I mean, as we've referred to our nail salons, I've now gone to nail bars and nail resorts. Who would have thought here we're living in a day where we're going to a nail bar and nail resorts that have 50 to 100 chairs and we can get our service at an elevated experience. That's amazing. So, and another thing I want to mention is as this industry's evolved, the mindset has evolved. The person who's doing the service has evolved. These are very sophisticated business people now. They're entrepreneurs like you and I, right? And they're not just. The war happened 46 years ago. That first generation mindset that my mom and dad had with that generation were like every immigrant that preceded them from Europe and from around the world. It was about putting food on the table. It was about the scarcity mindset. It was about fear of, are we going to make rent next month? Oh, that's gone. That's gone. When it's evolved to 1.5 generation to second generation and now third generation children coming up, it's about the abundance mindset. It's about how do we elevate this experience? How do we continue to raise the prices? There is no cap on these prices. There's no cap on these experiences. And there's no cap in what we can charge. We need to charge just as our hair counterparts, our skin counterparts are doing in the industry. And as we work on celebrities and as we have social media and as our segment blows up and moves forward, right? And so those are exciting times, and we're on the verge of something very exciting. So it's an exciting time for the evolution of the nails industry. Who would have known that just a short 46 years ago, it wasn't even an industry. It was something only Tippi Hedren, starlets, A-list actresses from Hollywood would do on a regular basis. Now it's for the masses, and now it's multi-segmented. And now for the first time, we're gonna have national brands coming out, national brands that makes it consistent, that makes it awesome. So.
You are you're sort of the second guru that's come into our universe in the last 18 months. Aaron and I have gotten to know Jan Arnold, through Beauty Changes Lives, who is such an advocate for the nail industry. And it's so fun to hear her. And now you, I mean, I think so much of what you're saying totally resonates. Nail artists, nail bars, the mindset change, the experience, and then the no cap on the price, the no cap on the experience. I mean, this is really, really good stuff. Carrie Perkins, she's one of our coaches and lead educator for us, based in Colorado Springs. Carrie, you're right. So many salon owners need to hear your message. It's awesome. What else? I want to move over to family business in just a moment, but any closing thoughts as it relates to the nail business and that part of our conversation today?
Yeah, closing thoughts, and it's 34 years that we've had the schools now. My sister Lynn and I have proudly owned and operated for the last 22 years. Mom and dad are happily retired. In 34 years, we've never had the enrollment that we have today. We are averaging between 15 to 25 new nail enrollees weekly. We're enrolling weekly. And so we're graduating 15 to 20 on average on a weekly basis that are joining the nails industry force. And they are hot graduates that have the pick of their choice. And so we're ready. The nail salon industry is ready. And we're just one school. Think about the hundreds and thousands of other schools with nail programs throughout our country that are graduating. And I'm talking to all my colleagues, they are all booming. They are all booming. Get ready to fill this gap with awesome nail professionals coming out in this next wave.
Well, we'd love to participate. And I know you're on with Aaron this week about our money course. So, you know, we love what you're doing, and your school has such a great reputation. Your name came up about 3 or 4 months ago from someone in the school industry, and I'll get to that on our call that we're doing, because you're double dipping today. Tam is joining me today on the school roundtable also. So, all right. So let's segue over to family business. And so you're, I think I'm a pretty active guy, but a pretty active guy in the beauty industry, but your list of different things you're involved in and giving back and all that is like quite inspiring and quite lengthy, you know. And just amongst this is, oh, by the way, you happen to be on the faculty of a major university teaching family business, and you've been doing it for 6 years, right?
That's right. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to my good friend Jen Arnold. You mentioned her. She's from a family business herself, her dad being a dentist, and that inspiring story of them becoming a leading manufacturer. And Jen Arnold became a very dear friend to me. And I'm honored to serve with her on the Beauty Unite think tank that we're on together. They've brought me in as a keynote speaker for many of their what we call cultural intelligence courses. So I've gotten to speak to Revlon and C&D many a times, and to their top marketing managers throughout the country about CQ, cultural intelligence, and about the understanding the Vietnamese mindset within the nails industry. And so Jen Arnold continues to be a dear friend. We text each other often, and she's from a great brand and family business. So I'm honored to be mentioned alongside Jen Arnold. As for you mentioned family business, yeah. Besides being the nails industry, and that's going to be my defining legacy, and being from a family that's from a leading nails school, I mean, in the country, and graduating that many nail programs, quality. It doesn't matter that we're the biggest. It just matters more to me that we're the best, and we have the quality. And I think just becoming the biggest is a secondary applause of being the best. And so we focus on being the best, and we focus on partnering with the best in the country, and we continue to do so. So being part of a family, a mom and dad who's passionate about this industry and who's now retired, being part of a brother-sister team who's I can brag about my sister all day. She graduated as the youngest licensed nail professional in the country at the time, and when she was 16, 17, and that was the minimum age, she went through the course and she graduated and she started teaching, and she's become a national expert. She sits on Jan Arnold's advisory board. Her and Jan Arnold toured the country to speak at major national conferences. State boards across the country call us when it comes to language, understanding the Vietnamese in the nails industry. We partner with a major publications. So both Pivot Point International as well as My Lady textbook publishers work with our school and my sister as a leading educator. And so I can go on and on about my sister Lynn, how amazing she is as a nails educator. Myself being both of us went on and got our MBAs at Cal State Fullerton. We're passionate Cal State Fullerton alumni, major university out here in California as part of the CSU system. And what an honor. I get to go back to the university I got my MBA from to teach and join the faculty as a part-time adjunct faculty member and teach a class by my mentor who taught at Stanford and Cal State Fullerton, Dr. Joanne Norton, created the class. It's a business management class called Management 335, taught to senior undergrads, and the name of the course is Family Business Dynamics. We often joke about, hey, if we can figure out the family dynamics, the business part's easy, right? and so she retired after teaching it for decades, and she was looking for a practitioner, someone in the trenches, someone who was working in their family business, someone who is second generation, and someone who's passionate about their family business and their industry. And so that's where, my name came up, and she invited me. And at first I said no, because I'm busy already as a father, as a husband, as a co-owner for this advanced beauty college, I was already serving on multiple boards with with our American Association of Cosmetology Schools and what have you. So but you know what, she gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. She said, you get to flip the switch on this course. You get to teach it from a practical level. You get to bring I think a fresh perspective in, and you'll relate to the students, being a younger business owner in the second generation. So yeah, I took it on. It's been one of the coolest things.
So my first experience into family business, from more of not just a conversation, but a sort of a business model and solutions around it. Something hit me over the head about family business during one of the 2 to 10 studies we did. This was probably like 8 years ago or something, where we went through and out of the 2 to 10 members, 50 companies, very robust premium brands, 92% of them were family businesses. And I thought, wow. So the next year, we happened to be doing the conference in Chicago. Aaron at the time was going to Loyola University, and we learned that Loyola University had a family business center. So we invited a woman, I think her name is Ann Smart, and she was a guest at the 2 to 10 conference on family business. And one of the things that she said to me that always stuck with me is that what appears when you're in the thick of it in a family business, what feels abnormal is actually quite normal. And that's a little bit comforting for many people that are considered to be family businesses. So let's unpack this a little bit. And you shared a statistic with me yesterday that I had you repeat, because I wasn't sure that I was shocked by that. You said 60% of I think this is Fortune 500 companies actually are family businesses by virtue of board members, et cetera. I mean, I knew small businesses. I already knew small businesses is dominated by family business, but even big corporations. Comment about that.
Yeah, Tom, one of my family business experts came in, and shout out to Loyola and where Aaron went, because I was talking to Robert Passage, our mutual friend, and of course I have such great admiration for the Passage family and Pivot Point family, and he mentioned how active they were in the Loyola Center for Family Business, as I am over here at Cal State Fullerton. And just to give context, there's a whole Family Business Directors Alliance that we're all a part of. So throughout Canada, throughout the U.S. and North America, many universities have these Center for Family Businesses. It's an emerging topic and now being recognized. So there's an alliance and director. So my good friend, Professor Ed Hart, leads that. But what the comment that you said, Tom, really resonates with me, right? I mean, it's lonely being a business owner. It's lonely being in a family business. You always feel like, gosh, is my family crazier than the next? Oh, we have so much dirty laundry. Do we even want to really air our dirty laundry and be authentic about this? And how open can we be about this while maintaining professionalism, right? But the reality is, the more family businesses I get to talk to, the more salon owners I talk to, the more other industry people I talk to, we have the same issues. It's the same problems. someone with 2 locations, your problems may be a little bit smaller than someone with 10 locations or what have you, but it's the same issues and problems, and it comes with the same solutions and the same discussions, and you don't feel alone when we talk to one another. And that's why I love platforms like this, to be able to share this makes things less lonely. I feel comfortable here, because once I step out of here and go into my business later, I need to put on my business, attire and face, I'm unable to have these conversations in the safe haven environment among fellow owners. But that there is something that, what, we all have something uncomfortable, and we have to get comfortable with that. There's something about, once you get comfortable in sharing your deepest, darkest things that maybe you're a little embarrassed or ashamed of, there's something powerful about that. Once you're able to put it out there on the table, and then other people empathize and actually feel the same way. So there's something really cool about that.
You mentioned issues and solutions. Let's talk about issues and solutions for a moment as it relates to family business.
There's tons. I mean, when you address that you're providing a solution for its transition, succession planning is a major issue. So I want to share some additional stats. My favorite statistics in family business is only 30% of family businesses make it from generation 1 to generation 2. Only 30%. And we made it. So we're part of 30%. Now there's other family businesses that make it to a 3rd generation. That's only 3%. Oh my goodness, only 3% make it to the 3rd generation. And there's a good number of those that I've got to know, because I'm part of this family business network. They're amazing. Some make it onto 4th generation and 5th generation. For example, In-N-Out, my favorite burger place, they're a 3rd generation family business now. Lindsay Snyder, her grandparents started it. Many are 4th generation, 5th generation. So that in terms of issues, there's a lot of issues, but let's talk about the first issue is succession planning and what you call transition. So that's one. Other issues that come up is, of course, the bringing up the business side of things, the tools that professionals can provide, such as CPAs like yourself, or attorneys and business coaches, and are able to provide. So that's the what I call the business side of it. And then, of course, the really tricky part, the psychology side of it, the dynamics, our relationships with me and my sister. We don't get along all the time. Our relationship with generation 1, the founders, mom and dad. Check this out. Mom and dad gave birth to myself and Lynn. They also gave birth to a business called Advanced Beauty College. And when you give birth to something, it's very personal. So for me and Lynn to want to come in and have a different vision and add technology and make changes, and oh my gosh, actually want to hire external leaders that are very high paying salaries. Oh, there's tremendous resistance from generation 1 in terms of that. But needless to say, you work through those, and there's a lot of great ways. And certainly we brought in a lot of tools from our MBA skills and in terms of what we've learned in business school at Cal State Fullerton to what we have today. And we're part of a lot of mentorship groups. We participate in a lot. Beyond the Center for Family Business, obviously, we're part of the American Association of Cosmetology Schools. We participate in many beauty industry think tanks, and we get to meet great leaders such as you, Tom, and others, and get to exchange ideas and learn.
You talked about one of the things, I know Robert Presage is passionate about this, and I totally would agree with this, and that is when you're looking at the 2nd generation, the importance of going outside and getting your own experience. And certainly our company is a great example. Erin, Erin is Erin's 2nd generation of our business. And Erin had a job before she came to Qnity, then got another job. And I got to tell you, after that 2nd job that Erin took, it was so powerful when she came back, because she had that experience. Amazing. So certainly you also recommend that for the 2nd generation. In fact, you've even shared some things you're doing with your family about that. So
we do. We have a family council. We've adopted some rules that I've gotten best practices from many families that I respect and have learned from. So our children are growing children. My sister has 3, and brother-in-law have 3 children. My wife and I have 3 children. As they they're going through high school now, the oldest ones, and there's some rules. And the rules are you gotta go out and at least get 2 years work experience outside of the family business. Having the same last name doesn't get you a management job right away, and being part of the family ownership. You also have to go through one of the programs. If you want to get back in the beauty industry, you got to pick your program. We got manicuring, cosmetology, barbering, esthetician, pick one of the programs and finish it. That's one of the rules. You got to start and actually work entry level when you come back in, and you have to report to a non-family member. So you're actually going to report to one of our managers who's not part of the family, and you're going to play by the same rules, and you're gonna prove yourself on merit, and you can get fired. We've had cousins that got fired from the family business just because you're related. It's going to make for an awkward Thanksgiving or an awkward holiday sometime, but you know what? It's a business, and we're going to treat it like a business. And so those are some issues that are real. We also formed family councils. So family council meetings happen. So that's a vision, mission, core values aside from the business itself, that it has its own entity. So creating a family council is very important, which eventually emerges into a family office, right? And has its own donor advised funds and taxes and tax strategies and what have you. That's very well developed here in the US. And so being part of a network of creating that in terms of giving back that's more impactful is also very important.
So
yeah,
go ahead.
No, and of course, getting our children involved, not just with the business, but in giving to the community, volunteering with us, and choosing the giving causes that align with our family values as well as our company values is very important.
Let's see here. I love it. There are family members I'd like to fire, and I don't have a family business.
That's funny.
Well, you know what, you and I talked about something else yesterday, and I think we'll have to move into wrap here in just a second here, but the other thing about a family business is the non-family members.
That's right.
And how a non-family member sometimes feel caught in the middle. And certainly, I would not be truthful if I didn't say that occurs in our company. And I think that's super helpful, actually, to have third parties in there that are able to separate. Okay, guys, get along. Let's get to the business topics. But sometimes that's really awkward. It's really awkward. Let's say that you have a family business and they're the partners of the business, and now you're not a family member. It's like, how do you react to that? To me, my experience is I want them to be as transparent as they possibly can. Mm-hmm. I want them to call out when you guys are having a family matter and take it offline. Yep. I want that non-family member to coach and advise up. That's my point of view on this. So.
Yeah, no, I get coached on this. So there's an expert, Dr. Ali Taylor, shout out to you at Orange Kiwi Consulting and my friends over there. She taught me a concept called MOM, M-O-M is the acronym. And MOM, M stands for management, O stands for ownership, and M stands for money. And that's, when it comes to me and my sister, we have to talk about ownership. So we wear our ownership hat and talk about that. And the money discussions that happen between owners is different. And then we bring in our non-family executive members. Lynn and I have an incredible executive team, but they're not related to us. They're amazing at what they do. And they bring so much value from the industry, and they were national players. And so they bring so much expertise, but they're not part of the family. They're not part of the ownership. So they're part of the management team, and they're part of our executive leadership team. And our discussions with them is that, they have an equal say at the management level, and so we get to wear that hat at our weekly executive meetings every Friday and get their input. And they give us a lot of input, and we learn, and they cover a lot of blind spots that Lynn and I have, and gaps that Lynn and I have that we didn't learn from mom and dad and didn't pick up through the years. So they fill those gaps well. And then money, we got to talk about money in each of those conversations very differently, right? And as we work with our CPAs at the ownership level, as we work with our business coaches and managers at the management level, we have, KPIs, our key performance indicators. We have our numbers that we have to meet. We get we're living in a world of data, almost too much data nowadays. So we got to pick the data points that are important to us. One data point that's important to us is graduation rate. So being a NACIS accredited school, obviously beyond graduation and licensure rate, there's only one more rate that's more important to us. It's called job placement. So job placement is the most important number for us, because if you place your job, if you get your graduate to a job and you're placed, guess what? All the other things already happen, from licensure to graduation to enrolling into a good quality education. If you get a quality, job placement, that's our number one most important number. That's why we emphasize that in terms of our team. But this MOM acronym worked for me, and I'm still getting coached on that. I'm a work in progress. We are work in progress. Lynn and I are learning on the fly. It's like drinking out of a fire hose every day. We're learning so much is going on. COVID's only made it even more. I mean, we're drinking more water out of the fire hose every day. So putting out fires and working and creating the systems and processes that we have.
Well, Tam, you and I are going to be doing this again in a little over an hour, and I want to make sure you would get a little bit of a breath between our time together. You don't get tired of me. So let's wrap this up. I feel like I can talk to you all day. I really appreciate getting to know you a little bit more intimately like this, and you're doing some amazing work, and you're so articulate, and you really provide some really just great pragmatic advice, as well as a very, very different lens, at least that I experienced when we look at the nail business or nail artists. Okay. So with that, I would like everybody to please give Tam a virtual round of applause. Give him a little shout out in the chat. Tell him what you liked most about it. And I get to award you a official $1 million light bulb, as well as an entry into the Brain Trust. So thank you for sharing this with us today, Tam, and I look forward to spending more time with you, not only in the next hour, but beyond that.
Thank you so much, Tom. It was such a pleasure and delight to be your guest today. I'm honored, and thank you for the love, everyone. I'm looking at the chat box, and thank you so much for the love that you each provide in welcoming me here today. So thank you so much. What a great way to start the morning. My heart is full, and I'm really grateful. And Robert, you cracked me up. That comment was totally funny. We all have family members that we want to fire. Yeah, that I get. That's a topic for another day, right?
Yeah. Sometimes I think they want to fire me. All right. Let's let me wrap this up here. And all right, let's see. I've got to make sure I've got the right thing I'm going to share to close this thing out. All right. Reminder, we are on at 12 p.m. Central Time. If you are in the school business, the school session that's going to start a little bit here is going to mirror much of the same things we discussed, with a few other twists on it. So you're welcome to join us. Reminder, we've got a Qnity in action for those of you that need a coach. I think we all need a coach. I need a coach. You need a coach. And I think some of the most successful people I meet behind the scenes have a coach. If you don't have a coach, let us know. You can connect with Aaron. You can book your free coaching session. Use this QR code. And then reminder, we're super excited about our new money course, which right now is only available to students in a partnership with Pivot Point. But in the second quarter next year, maybe even sooner, we will also have this money course available for the professional market too. It's covering some of the key things that go into money success, not just money success, but life success, how to talk about money, who to ask for help, how to change your money story and all. That's a very rich curriculum. So we're super excited. That's the newest thing that we've created. And so again, we do this every week. Next week, I think I know we are my guest for next week. And it is a really, really, just like this week, a really, really guest for next week. But I got to make sure my memory is not wrong. So before I announce who that is, but we've got great guests next week. We hope you had some light bulb moments today and that you connected some dots. Let's end with: knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do. Tam gave you some very actionable ways to address the nail business in your business, from a recruitment standpoint, the terminology, the pricing. And I knew this was going to be a great session, but it was even better than I imagined. My closing thoughts are: the bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next week. Once again, thank you, Tam, for joining us. And here's to a prosperous rest of the week. Bye now.